Welcome to the Vale, a rare bastion of civilization in a world recuperating after a terrible, centuries-long war. Though the battles ended 200 years ago, the land still recovers from this period of tumultuous strife and slavery. Join now the defenders of the Vale as they navigate a world riddled with opportunity and tragedy, all the while seeking glory, gold, and adventure.
All right, guys, so let's get together. We're going to play. We're going to do some stuff. We're going to start in the humble beginnings, moments after you've had that conversation. It's a very somber mood. Maybe as the evening kind of sets in, as you guys sit in quiet, as you realize you not only met, but watched the death of Robbie John's dad, and you watched the death of Basil's mom, and the imprisonment and incoming interrogation of Basil's father. You left yourselves with more questions, I think, than you got answers. And now you're kind of set wondering what to do. You know there's beholders out there somewhere that you've got to take care of eventually. There's some dragons possibly floating around. You have no idea what's going on with Abel. He's got the trio of effort as he begins to kind of figure things out. And now you're left with questions. You know, this whole quest was started with the return of the dragons, and now you find out this world is isolated from the rest of existence. You've got questions as to what is Abel actually going to do. You guys really have no idea what in the heck Abel is doing. You haven't done a very good job of interrogating Abel. That might be something you want to pursue. You've been very trustworthy for the creepy guy in the cave, but it never had the hard questions with him. Maybe you should have, Cain talk to Abel. You're in the end. Everybody's drinking somberly. People are gone.
Basil will suggest, since he just requested a way to try and contact Cain, perhaps waiting he himself can write a letter to Cain, and then in the meantime, Julius can be imprisoned under heavy watch because he'll probably try and die. And while my correspondence is on its way to Cain, we can go look for these beholders. Because if there's beholders about there, we should probably do something about them beholders there. I should do something about them there beholders. Don't want them to be beholden nothing except the cold embrace.
Yeah, there's only 3. And he holds up 5 fingers.
What? I'm not sure how to proceed in this conversation.
A brief moment later, you actually hear some footsteps coming down the stairs. And you see Cain, you think, coming down the stairs.
Why do you say you think? Why do you have to say you think? What does that mean?
Because you don't know if it's Springwater or Cain. You haven't interacted yet.
Oh, I see. Basil's gonna be like, oh, Cain, your timing is impeccable and terrifying.
I just had a feeling down in my jewels that I was just needed over here. So I thought I'd come by, say hello, and see who you wanted to introduce me to.
I'm thankful that you've come as Cain, not thankful that you mentioned your jewels.
Do you have a problem with my jewels? He looks down.
I think we've spoken far too much about them already.
I'm quite happy with my jewels.
Yes, okay, thank you, Cain. Your suspicion was, however frightening, quite correct. Am I still holding my dad?
I think so. I don't think you put him away yet.
I haven't put him in timeout yet. I point to my dad, and I go, this is my father. His name is Julius. He doesn't want to speak to me, but I would quite like to get some information from him. And as I recall, you are quite excellent at gathering information, or perhaps not you, but your stage personality?
Stage personality? What are you talking about?
Springwater.
I couldn't hear you. You seem to be choking on family awkwardness.
I put my dad on a chair, still tied up. I just lean him against a chair, very awkwardly tied up. I just stay. And then I go to Cain. I move over to Cain and I'm like, but you know how when you do the Springwater thing?
Does Springwater, and he holds up his hand and does quotes, thing?
Yeah, you become like a really badass interrogator amongst other things.
Are you, I'm confused. Are you saying I'm not badass now?
No, that's not what I meant. I misspoke. I meant your reputation as Springwater is quite... Again, I will invoke the word terrifying.
Mr. Cain, what I believe our friend Basil is trying to say is, He would like Mr. Springwater to extract some information from his father Julius over here.
Not quite.
Oh,
Almost.
extract.
No, Springwater doesn't need to do. I run in front of King. Hold on. Wait, one moment. I don't want you or Springwater to do it. I want you to teach me how to do it.
He kind of walks up, and if you remember, Kane is kind of tall for an elf.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of walks up, and he's very casual, and then kind of takes a deep breath, and eerily, his whole countenance changes. And he kind of leans in close to your dad, puts an arm on his shoulder, and gets his face awkwardly close to his face. He goes, "You got information, huh? And you're not telling us stuff." Man, I love it when people don't want to tell us stuff, because I get to learn new things about the resiliency of the humanoid, right?
Oh dear.
Basil, what do you know about your dad?
Surprisingly little.
Okay, well, just remember, my question was, and I need you to look in my eyes and focus here, not what don't you know about your father, but what do you know about your dad? It should be quick if there's not much, so come on.
Basil looks between Julius and Kane, and then back to Julius, and then back to Kane, and he looks him in the eye, and he says, well, he mentioned that he was related by blood also to the great sage, amongst other things, that I was taken by the sage from him.
This is about you. Let's refocus back to your father.
Well, it's connected in the fact that I would assume a lot of his bitterness comes from that. No offense, Dad. And furthermore, his wife is now dead.
He leaning on him still. He looks at him and goes, "See, this is why I have to get good at asking people questions. I've asked him the same question 3 times. He's yet to give me an answer. Does he fight? Is he trained in anything? In your little bit of time with him, have you noticed anything unique about him? Does he seem worried or protective of some information? What type of questions would you like me to answer or have him answer for you?"
That's the thing. I want you to teach me how to get that information from him, not you to do it yourself.
You want me to teach you how to have him figure out what questions you would like him to answer?
You know that's not what I said.
That's kind of what you said.
Kane.
What does he do for work? How does he fight when he engages in combat?
He's a monk like me, and he worked as, basically, I believe him to have been one of the fingers of the cult.
Okay, so he's a cultist monk. Does he fight like you? Is he the same type of monk as you are? Because I'm very experienced in your type of martial arts now.
We haven't fought. I'm assuming it's quite similar because we're supposedly from the same order, although perhaps different interpretations.
Look at you, a cultist monk.
Yes, quite.
Okay. Yeah, I can talk to him. We'll have a conversation. Basil, I don't think I want to teach you how I talk to people, though. You're nice.
Basil I guess he sort of takes a second to study Kane's expression, and he exhales like, I think I can appreciate what you're saying, but the fact of the matter, Kane, is I'm not interested in being nice. I'm interested in being effective.
You said you're not interested in being effective?
I am interested in being effective. I'm not interested in being nice.
Okay, but do you have what it takes? Can you cross a line? Or are you going to be one of those, we've got to keep people safe and morality? Yeah, that hesitation.
I believe.
That's why I don't want to have you go.
It's not hesitation, it was contemplation. It's not that I won't cross a line. It's just I believe I have my own set of judgment. I mean, I've entrusted Gravine with a lot of things. I do believe that I am capable of doing things should I deem them necessary. In the conversation with my father, we spoke about the fact that I have killed many people.
Oh, come on, kid. You've been defending things. That doesn't count.
What's so different about this between killing people in the name of defending things and hurting people to defend things?
Because when you hurt people to defend things, you're not hurting people to defend things. You're crossing very uncrossable lines to get information you may or may not need, and you're using the ends to justify the means. Now, that's my gig. That's what I do. I'm an end justifying the means kind of guy. My morality is based off of my goal that I wish to achieve. That's fine. I've accepted this. It's how I lived my life. It's how my father lived his life. It's how my kid's going to live his life. You, You're everybody's got feelings and they should all have a fair life and let's take care of puppies kind of guy.
I think you'll find I'm a grown man that can make his own decisions.
Yeah.
And I
And we
think you'll
need grown
find
men who make those morally positive decisions to be in charge of things. We don't need those grown men sacrificing their morals to do the dirty work. You need people who do dirty work to do the dirty work. There's a distinct difference. That's why a group can have somebody like you and somebody like your little annoying halfling friend. You both can hit the same goal with different objectives.
I don't plan on becoming some jaded and cruel person. Nothing of the sort. I just wish to have the opportunity to learn a new set of skills, and I will deem for myself whether or not I think they are worth implementing.
Well, somebody else is going to have to teach them to you. Because I think the world needs more people like you and less people like me.
Surely by making that judgment yourself, you've proved that there are more people like me.
No. I'm just saying, you're like, I'm not going to go down the dark. And he kind of makes fun of your voice for a second because Springwater's an ass. I'm not going to go down. I am a noble man who will choose not to go down a noble path. Listen, you know how an alcoholic becomes an alcoholic? They keep drinking. And they don't do it instantly. At first, drinking's fun. You drank a couple times, no problems, no issues. You wake up the next day, you do your work, you do your job, you don't have a problem. A couple years down the line, you're drinking more. You're working less. Your body's changing. The chemistry inside of your head's changing. A little while longer, now you're not an alcoholic. You are alcohol. It makes your choices. But nobody starts off wanting to wake up with hangovers and withdrawals. You work your way up to that, getting past the fun stuff first. And let me tell you, Basil, he puts his arm around you and his other arm around your dad. The endorphins I'm going to receive by questioning this man and finding out what little secrets he's got in the back of his mind, they're fun.
I don't suppose it would comfort you at all to know that I can't get drunk.
You've never tried, right?
On the contrary, I taught myself to lose that ability. For what it's worth, a large portion of my life has been dedicated to a certain type of discipline. However, I won't force you to. Teach me if you're not comfortable with the idea.
No, but I'll do it for you. And I can promise you I have a set of hard lines. I will not kill him. I will not do some things, but I will do a lot of things. And I will verify the information before I hand it to you on a platter.
Would you let me watch?
Kind of.
It's not as straight an answer as I expected, I'll be honest.
As long as you don't mind not being in the room.
Alright.
We'll have one of your little wizard friends set something up and you can watch as the questions happen. And that way you can't interact. We need you to not be there.
I don't plan on it.
Okay, good. Because Sue will be standing at the door and you'll have to kill him to come in once I start.
I'm not going to kill Sue, he's very nice.
You say he's nice. He's the kind of guy that will do exactly as I instruct him, and that instruction will be let nobody in this store until after your death.
Okay, well, he's very loyal, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Loyal people can be nice, okay?
He's a wonderful person as long as you're not on the wrong side of the instructions I give him.
I have no interest in fighting Sue. I quite like his jokes.
Really?
What did you say about me being someone that's willing to humor most people?
That's just bad.
There's nothing wrong with encouraging people's hobbies.
Well, that's how you got a necromancer, or a lich, I see.
He's a nice lich. As someone who has had experience with 2 liches, he is by far the better one.
That's great. So, barring anybody objecting, Springwater, Sue, and Caesar Salad are going to bounce. So what else is everybody else going to do while we're doing things? So Basil, if you'd like to go, you're gonna go.
Yeah, Basil would go with them then.
I think Robbie John's gonna just kind of hang out to maybe distract herself from her own thoughts.
Now, you guys got a few things still to answer. Ryn's people is looking up the location of the beholder. He's also looking up some stuff on Abel and things like that. But you guys have voiced some questions about Abel. And one person in your group in particular is exceptionally good at making Abel show up.
Fine, Robbie John doesn't go.
All she has to do is call her boyfriend. He shows up every time.
Robbie John really doesn't want to see him right this second, but because she likes everybody, if they ask nicely, maybe buy her a drink, she'll do it.
Say, Robbie John, you're looking a little thirsty. Let me get you something.
Thank you, Mr. Roland. Robbie John requests that it's highly alcoholic.
That can be done.
Fantastic.
Bartender, a couple of very alcoholic beverages. Get one for anyone who wants one.
All right, so Basil, Springwater, and Caesar Salad have left to henceforth take part in the interrogations of Caesar Salad. Roland is buying people drinks, and the dwarf guild member / bar owner is running around passing drinks out to everybody. You all have now a shot of liquor in front of you. Before you drink it, the bartender sets one down, and he lights a match and puts it in the shot glass, and you can see it burst into flames. And he goes, "This is the most alcoholic drink in the land. Enjoy!" And he slams it and walks back behind the bar.
Are we supposed to light ours on fire also?
Don't!
All right then. Cheers! And Roland will take his shot.
Perfect. It's much like they say you can't drink tequila without making a face. You 100% can't drink this without making a face. It's more potent than Everclear.
Robbie John will throw hers back, make a face. That includes a double chin, because she pulled her face in like a turtle. And then,
So, Robbie Jan!
she would, she's gonna, while she's making the face, wave down the bartender and ask for another one.
The bartender will lay enough for. He goes, for everybody or just use?
Robbie John's not sure, but at least 2 more for Robbie John,
Who's
please.
paying? Who's paying for this round?
Robbie John just ordered, so probably Robbie John.
Okay, so for you or everybody? She's paying for everybody. All right. He goes, okay, and then he starts putting it down in front of everybody.
Sure.
When he says she's paying for everybody, Scandal walks in like, I'm in. He sits down at the bar.
Right next
He's
to-
not gonna miss
Now-
an opportunity.
Robbie John ordered so she's got like a total of 3 of these shots. Do I need to like roll a save or a check or something?
After you drink the 3rd shot, you certainly need to make a save. Anybody who's going to drink all 3 shots needs to make a save. Con.
Scandal definitely would.
Everybody
Robbie
besides
John.
Breck so far is fine.
Robbie John rolled 16.
Roland got a 22.
Alcohol.
Scandal got a 20.
Dave, the awakened bear, is sitting there, and this little dwarf keeps bringing these little shots of something for him, and he keeps drinking them. And all of a sudden you hear, and he kind of slumps in the chair because the save was a 15.
Oh, he got a 14.
Oh, yeah. Brett got a 7. He falls over.
Yeah.
You just
Looks
hear,
over at the bear and he's like, that is not honey. Poor bear.
so the bear's over there mumbling.
Onyx is outside looking for beholders.
Anyway, you've had your drink. Where's Abel?
Robbie John is kind of mumbly and slurry, but she's gonna kind of tug on her ear, even though she doesn't have that earring anymore. Mr. Abel, guys. Sir, Robbie John needs to talk to you. Hiccup, followed by a belch.
All of a sudden you hear, bartender. You feel Abel's arm slide around your shoulders. He is in the chair next to you.
Robbie
Have you
John.
eaten well?
Robbie John is going to turn and look at Abel and kind of give a crooked smile, and then she's effectively going to try to punch him in the face.
All right. You punch. Not going to make you roll or anything because he won't dodge you. Then as you move your fist away, he's still just looking at you with affection, going, I hope that helps you feel better.
Well, it didn't. Robbie John doesn't think
Do it again.
it. Okay. And she will try again.
You punch him again in the face, and you start to see his cheek turn red from your punches.
That feels a little better.
If it makes you feel better, do it again.
No, Robbie John is tired.
Should I take you away so that you can rest?
No, Robbie John and her friends have questions, and the first one is, can Robbie John's gnome friend make her some French fries?
So what you're telling me is you're hungry and the gnome hasn't made you fries yet.
Well, it's not breakfast.
You see Abel kind of puts a frown on. He leans back and reaches behind you, his fist going into a portal, grabs, and it pulls a gnome in a nightgown out of a portal, holding the gnome up and goes, I believe the lady said she was hungry for French fries. Drops the gnome, who sprints into the kitchen of the Humble Beginnings.
That was a little uncalled for, but thanks.
I believe that was exactly called for. You said you wanted French fries, correct?
Robbie John asked yes. Robbie John does want French fries. However,
Good. They'll be here momentarily. Probably the
Robbie John.
best French fries you've ever had. At least for that person's sake, I hope they are.
Robbie John is confused about a few things. Mr. Abel Geyser. Rabijan has had a rough day.
How can I make it better for you? Whom needs removed?
Well, that's kind of where the questions come in. So, Rabijan remembers you saying a long time ago that this world is kind of like on a loop. It keeps repeating, and Rabijan vaguely remembers that it was Mr. Abel Geyser that does that.
Yes, it's correct. I've currently set it in a loop of right before it's destroyed. Correct.
So, Mr. Abel Geyser may not know, but today Rabijan met a tabaxi that claimed to be her father.
Yes, you've met your father today.
Rabijan doesn't like the way you said that, so matter of factly, like Mr. Abel Guy already knew.
I know a lot of things, Miss Rabijan.
Rabijan also spoke to Lady Freya today.
That's great. That's your goddess. I hope you're in direct communication.
It's a little more direct than usual. Rabijan is curious about what Mr. Abel Guy's intentions are. And, well, Rabijan is wondering if the cult 100% deserved being the sacrifice of a lich.
How would you have handled the cult instead? You were on your way to murder them, weren't you? I mean, questions of morality aren't my hot button topic. I defer to Basil and his high horse, usually. But you were going to kill the cult, right? Well, now you've got a friend who killed the cult and became a lich. That's quite advantageous, I think. A lot of nice things a lich can do for you, if you ask correctly or have the right leverage.
Well, Rabijan learned something about the past Defenders of the Veil groups that was a little concerning.
You mean in the previous attempts to solve this crisis? What did you hear? What would you like me to talk about?
Well, the other members change, but Rabijan always stays the same.
You are the most consistent thing I've ever seen in my existence.
What does that mean?
It means out of everything I've ever met in my existence, you are the thing that acts most consistently.
That's still confusing.
It means Rabijan's a constant, Roland says as he stumbles towards the conversation.
Rabijan may be inebriated, but Rabijan's pretty sure she knows the meaning of consistent and constant. Thanks.
You're welcome.
So what do you want to know, Rabijan? What's the question? Use your words. I will answer any questions as truthfully as possible for you. This is a gift no other being in existence has ever received. With an access to knowledge that no other being in existence has ever had. Finnileas would commit unthinkable crimes of passion to receive that offer from me.
You just see Roland nodding.
Rabijan would like to know if the tabaxi that claimed to be her father was evil.
Well, define evil for me. He was certainly responsible for a lot of, I think you call them bad deeds. Freya would not have gotten along with anything this individual has ever represented in his life.
Okay. They also said that Rabijan's family members were included in Grai's sacrifice.
Some things you don't like telling people. Your mother was ill, but alive, after being recaptured by your father, and she may have been in the castle that Grai assaulted to become a lich, but Grai did not know.
She was being held prisoner, or was there of her own will?
It's hard to say. You're getting into attention. I can see a lot of stories, but I don't get to hear what's in people's minds most times. Sometimes, most times I can. I try not to pry into your family's personal minds too much, out of respect.
Rabijan's eyes kind of wide. Whoa, what about Rabijan's mind?
No, never. I have never in all of your existence pried into your mind. You are the only being I have never pried into.
But why? Rabijan is so confused.
Me too.
Rabijan is going to squinch very hard in slight distrust of Abel, but I believe at that point she would have been presented with a plate of Defender fries, so she's distracted now. Rabijan's not done asking questions. but she needs to eat.
So, how's everybody else doing? Roland, how's your garden?
Well, it seems to be doing well now that I've had some time to maintain it.
Scandal, have you finished those tasks I assigned you?
I'll have you know I'm a bear, and bears can't perform tasks as sophisticated as those. Also, I'm drunk.
Weird. It's weird. So you like poison is what you're trying to tell me. Got it. Come here.
I'm saying, boss, I'm working on them. It's very sensitive work. You can't rush it, please.
He kind of squints his eyes and looks at you and goes, "We're going to have a chat later."
We're always having bloody chats. Fine.
Hey, you see, Rabbi Jan, this is why I like you better than most people. Look at that. He represents most people.
I'm a bear, I'm not people. No offense, Dave.
Yeah.
I don't care about anything. I'm a bear singing a song.
Bobby John can share that feeling every now and then.
It's so just exhausting.
Bossman, you say you like to treat Rabajan the best, is that so?
Well, I mean, you've seen how I treat other people.
The bear scandal has a bit of a thinking face on, and he's going to snap his fingers as he looks around the room, and any willing creature turns into an exact copy of Rabajan, including himself. Any creature that does not resist, as he casts seeming.
Dave turns into Rabbi John, most assuredly.
Yeah.
You hear Dave go, "I'm a cleric. I'm going to cast a spell on you." He goes, put a spell on you.
And then he's gonna sit there as Rabajan, and he's gonna say, pick a bloomin' favorite now.
Bobby John is looks up at the snap and sees Scandal changed and is kind of freaked out.
And a number of other people. Does Roland accept being turned into a Rabajan? And Onyx and Brock and
Well,
whatnot?
It's funny because I was thinking of using my 1,000 forms to turn into Scandal, but Robbie John works.
A gaggle of Rabajans.
Onyx would have been okay with it, but he's outside looking for beholders.
So what else are you guys doing besides trying to visually trick Abel?
Scandal goes back to drinking.
You guys summoned me here, or had Rabbi Jan summon me here, because you were hoping because you guys seem to be too scared to ask some very heavy questions. So let's hear the questions. Express your doubts. Ask me the hard hitters. Test my loyalty.
Distract him from the fact that I'm not doing my job.
Nothing, including this lame attempt at illusion, can distract me from how inefficient you operate.
Takes a sip of alcohol.
Hey guys, I thought I saw a beholder, but it was only a bear barrel. I need to buy him another barrel.
Onyx, the barrel slayer.
How does Onyx react when he sees all the Robbie Johns?
That's a good question. I haven't been drinking. Have I? My eyes are... Okay. Maybe it was a beholder I hit. I'll be back. And he goes back to the barrel, trying to see if he actually hit a beholder.
I love that. Well, I guess Scandal was going to be like, so what's all this about heavy questions and all that? It sounds a bit scandalous, and you know I do love a good scandal.
Well, Bobby John has been through some things the last day or so, and Bobby John is wondering if Mr. Abel Guys, sir, would consider himself to be a good guy or a bad guy.
Scandal spit takes.
I don't concern myself with those distinctions.
Well, Bobby John is wondering if Mr. Abel Geiser would be more of one or the other.
Nope, it was a barrel.
Nobody touch a hit point. Nobody touch a spell slot, or I will delete you.
Holy crap, you guys, we made it to episode 100. This is nuts. Thank you, of course, for listening and for telling your friends, sharing us in general. There are lots of good ways to share, and yeah, of course, I just said telling your friends, but tell your family, tell your neighbors, rent a billboard, rent a skywriter, or even, those planes that just fly around with the banner behind them. Or there's lots of ways to help show your support for free. You can leave us a rating and review wherever you find our podcast. And as I said, tell others about us. Just word of mouth. Talking's free. So, with this being the 100th episode, I think we should revisit with Onyx and check in on a few more deep thoughts.
I was wondering, what do Terras call giants? Halflings? I met a demi-lich once. He was taller than I expected. I met a person who claimed to be an assassin, but after I killed him and cut him open, he only had one ass. The other day, the group asked me to stand there and hold an orb. As I was standing there, it occurred to me, Rock? Me? I'm a deus.
Thank you, Onyx, as always. Your words of wisdom know no bounds. Alright, Guildies. It's episode 100. We're only a little bit through it. Let's get back to the show.
All right, so you're back. We're live. Mallory, Abel's looking at you with his weird cosmetic eyes.
Cosmetic?
Mm-hmm. When you look into him, sometimes you see the cosmos.
I'm not sure that's how that word is meant to be used, but okay. So Ravi John is probably more or less finished with the largest portion of her potatoey snack and is ready to talk again with a little bit more of a clear head.
He creepily reaches over and dabs the side of your mouth with a napkin he's holding for you.
Ravi John's gonna grimace and kind of like pull away from him as my toddler does when I try to do the same to her face.
So, you've all got big, important, cosmic balance type questions.
Well, yeah, Ravi John has heard a few things that has made her wonder stuff. Ravi John's wondering what happens if the world doesn't end.
Tomorrow.
Does Mr. Abel Geiser have any plans for if this plan goes well?
I have a few ideas.
Such as?
Well, I expect I'll have a couple of disciples I need to train. It will be nice to visit my home. I've been unable to visit my home for millennia.
Where is that?
If you think very hard about how big the galaxy and the world and all of the stuff that you know existence is, then you think where the gods live, Freya calls home, and the demons and the devils live. And you go beyond that, outside of the rules that they subscribe to a place that we haven't named because it simply was there.
Okay. What happens to this world then?
Whatever you guys decide. At that point in time, the curse or the attempt to destroy it will be gone, and you'll be outside of my known experiences. I don't know what would happen then. I imagine power struggles would happen, empires would rise and fall, and people would reproduce and die, and cows would be milked, and Onyx would probably hunt beholders, and then the next generation would undo and redo everything their parents did.
So Mr. Abel Geiser doesn't have any plans for this world if it doesn't end?
It's not my world to run.
Well, then why is Mr. Abel Geiser making it repeat everything if it ends?
I'm on it right now. If it ends and I'm on it, it's bad for me.
But isn't that by choice?
I was visiting. when this plan started. Unfortunately for the people who tried to blow up the world, they tried to blow up the world I was on.
So that's it? The only reason that you're trying to not let this world end is because you're on it currently?
That's a reason.
What's the reason?
I care about this world, kind of.
So if it doesn't end, you would just leave?
No, not initially. I kind of, yes. I can be a couple places at once at times. And a chunk of me would be somewhere, most of me would leave, and I would leave behind a bit of my consciousness here.
Yeah, Robbie John could see you doing that.
Of course. Somebody's got to make sure Robbie John has her omelets.
It's bacon and sausage, but beside the point.
I don't think you're going to turn down an omelet if I offer it to you.
Probably not.
Nice
Oh,
crepe.
With fruits? Robbie
He
John
kind of
would-
leans and looks in the direction of the kitchen and nods. You guys smell food being prepared again.
Well, okay, but it's just Robbie John thought that since you were protecting the world that you had bigger plans for it.
No, I don't honestly care about most of this world.
Most.
Correct.
But you said you care about the world.
Because of a few things, yes. I care more about a few things that cause me to care about the existence of this world. So what are the questions? You talked to a cultist for one evening, and your loyalty in me has been shaken. What can I do to reestablish your faith that I am a good person? He puts
Well,
air quotes up when he says good.
Robbie John's just confused because she thought that there was like a big plan or some bigger reason why Mr. Abel Geister didn't want the world to end. Turns out that might not be such a thing.
I have one purpose for caring about this planet, okay? Just one. I have spent so much time following your existence. I'm absolutely dying to know what you do on the day that I have labeled tomorrow. I've seen you go through every type of existence you can possibly have. Sometimes you've lived the exact same life twice. Always you're the same person, which is intriguing. This one, he points at Roland. He has been an evil wizard. He himself has been a necromancer.
I don't believe it for a second.
Drink another shot, sir. And a shot's delivered to
Robbie,
you.
Robbie John could kind of believe that.
This one, he points to Scandal. He has been a brave knight before, to sacrifice himself for the innocent.
Robbie
And if you
John's
know
not sure
anything about
that
him
one.
now,
Nope.
that's not the case.
No.
I'm sorry. I meant Roland Jean does not believe that for a second.
Roland John. So, because I don't want to die, and I'm intrigued by what tomorrow looks like for you, this world lives.
Well, Robbie John feels like it's probably not going to be super exciting because Robbie John feels like tomorrow is going to include very, very long nap. But
Oh, if I had to bet, it would include naps and breakfast.
that's probably accurate. But Robbie John just thought there's going to be a little bit more for plans for the world that you've been trying to save for 1,000 years or
No.
more.
You've got your free will. It's just my role is to make sure that free will exists outside of this temporal time loop that I've created.
So the only reason that you're saving this world is for curiosities about tomorrow and just because you're on this world.
Well, self-preservation is a high motivator I find in all beings of existence, from the lowly ant to the mightiest god.
So Robbie John has talked to Lady Freya before?
Yeah. You, in all of your lives, if not, have always been a voice for or a worshiper of the Lady Freya. Which I don't understand why. Freya's not a nice person to me.
But Lady Freya kind of worries about the important things across the board. Battles, death, love, etc.
She prattles on, yeah.
Robbie John did not hear you say that. Anyway, Robbie John just thought that maybe it was going to be a little more exciting plans for the world if it was saved.
I have been approached. I have been approached by a few of your guild members about questions, deep questions, and I feel I will address those.
Yeah, that's fair.
People often ask me how I can rewind time. It's a simple trick. You've got the power to do it.
Would be interesting to know about that, yes?
Yeah, I mean, think of it like this. How hard is it for you to stand up? If you got legs, it's simple. So, he says, taking the pressure off Rabijan. Looks at the rest of the defenders and goes, "What questions do you have for me? I will extend the courtesy to you guys for at least this visit. I promise, no smiting, including you, Scandal.
Good.
You have the freedom to ask any question, and I will not alter my judgments of you one iota. Besides, I know what questions you're probably going to ask anyway.
The endeavors seem a little bit pointless then, but
Well, you don't know the answers. Just because I know what you want to ask doesn't mean you know the answer.
I'll be honest, I'm not certain what kind of questions I could have for you. Kind of just my boss.
You can't have a
Oh,
raise.
can I get a raise?
Come on. Huh? That was brilliant.
Then Scandal frowns as Ravajan.
I'm not seeing any beholders. Hey, have you guys seen any beholders?
Oh, I've seen a ton of them.
I think he means right now, boss man.
Do you know where the 3 of them are that are wanting me to kill them?
I don't think any beholders actually want you to kill them.
Yeah, they told me.
Oh, is it already time for the beholders?
Can it be?
He gets all excited.
Yes, buddy. Within the week, you'll have fought your beholders.
I don't like that you said fought and not slain.
Well, I can't give away all the spoilers.
Of course it's slain.
Let me see how big a beholder is real quick so I can really just make this better.
I have not fought a beholder yet that I have not killed.
Thought in the story, somebody told me that the first beholder you fought blew up.
Yeah, I blew him up.
I turned to Abel. Did he blow him up?
Abel goes, yes. Yes, he did.
Yeah.
Brock looks over at Abel with a sly smile.
Right.
He told you.
So, you just have a thing for slaying beholders on sight. Ironic.
Well, they imprisoned my people and killed my people, so yes, I killed them.
Interesting. I snap my fingers and will silent image a beholder overlaying Abel. just in the space that Abel is in is the image of a of a pretty mean looking beholder. It doesn't move. It's just a still image, but you know.
Do you attack it?
Oh, of course.
Okay. What's your armor class, Basil? Or Scandal?
What do you mean? My armor class is 19 apparently. What?
So 30 hits.
Okay, yeah, 30 hits.
Alright, what happens is Onyx comes running forward and stabs violently with his new halberd into the image of the beholder, and you see right next to you here a portal open up as a halberd comes flying through and stabs into you, hitting you for 30 points of damage.
Okay, alright, cool. We're at 30 altogether?
You're going to
That's easy.
die.
The illusion of the beholder deflates like a balloon would and falls on the
Yeah.
ground, slain by Onyx the Mighty.
Okay. This axe is awesome!
Abel, you ruined Ravajan, and Ravajan cannot believe you would do such a thing.
Okay, guys, we can fight these 3 beholders. Well, here. You guys stay here. I'm gonna go kill them. I'll be back.
Honestly, I feel like, Rabijan, you can heal yourself. You'll be fine.
Touche. And touche is my healing word. Use my 2 pack slots to heal myself with 2 healing words.
Okay, everybody besides Basil cannot talk. You can stay in and listen, but you guys cannot talk. We're going to flash over to a room. It's a dark room with one light on the wall behind a man tied to a chair who is bleeding from a few slices and sweating. As you see, Basil is in the adjacent room looking into a crystal ball, watching everything transpire as Springwater's slowly walking around his father tied to a chair. Basil, what questions are you interested in having your father answer?
So, first and foremost, what other remnants of the cult might exist that we might not already know about? Second of all, I guess questioning directly about his past would seem a little, what's the word, too personal. But Basil is more sort of like wanting to get details on what occurred with the Great Sage, just to know if there's anything that the Great Sage has been omitting, or because, like, you know, he doesn't want dissent within his own order. So details pertaining to what sort of betrayal happened back then are important to him. Thirdly, general sort of information on why Julius and Clei were so involved with this cult and sort of where they got their information from. I think those would be the 3 main things.
All right, so I wasn't listening.
Okay.
I'm just kidding. You want to know? I almost got a spit take from 2 players. You want to know the history with the sage, the history with the cult, and
If there's any remaining,
any other cults remaining.
like
Okay.
dregs of cult or fingers or whatever.
So you see Springwater. Finally, as he's circling around, he goes to sit down where there's no chair, but somehow it looks like he's sitting into a chair straight in front of Julius's, right? His name's Julius.
Yes.
In front of Julius. And he goes, listen, I hope you don't answer my next couple of questions because I'm having the most fun I've had in a long time. So please, show me how strong monks are because I honestly don't care if you ever give me the information. It means nothing to me. But I promised your son I would ask these questions. So let me just, as a formality, that way I'm not lying to him because he's a nice guy, I'll just re-ask the questions every so often. But I'm telling you, for my sake, please, don't answer. Because this right here is what I live for. Okay? Okay. He kind of pats him on the cheek. It's good to know that you're keeping attention. Look at him. Such strong eyes. We've been in here a little while. Man, you look like nothing's happened. Oh, gosh. Remind me to thank Abel for this ring later. And you can see him take a ring off of Julius's finger and put it back in his pocket. And then he sits back and he goes, okay. Oh, we're all cut up, right? All right. Why don't you tell me, let's see. Well, let's start off casual. Why don't you tell me a little bit about yourself, huh? Come on. How did you meet your wife? At what point in time did you have a falling out with the great sage, who, by the way, I agree with you, he's a very stuffy individual. Could use with a lot of calming down. Basil's kind of that way too, but he's a little more let live in peace than the other guy. I like making fun of Basil and you can't say anything about it. He kind of coughs. And it's only been, we'll say, it's only been an hour, right? We'll say he's only been in the other room for an hour, but he looks older somehow. He looks tired and withered. He looks like he's been through a lot more than an hour of time with Springwater, but Springwater is a master interrogator, so who knows what type of super secret tricks that he could have used. Totally has nothing to do with a ring and being associated with somebody who's shown that they can manipulate time and whatnot. Nothing at all. Julius kind of coughs a little bit, and he goes, what do you, just ask your questions. Springwater goes, I'm so sorry, I forgot. We'll do this quickly. I have 3 questions. He could have given me a list of 100. I have 3 questions. We'll start it off easy. Tell me about your relationship with the Great Sage. He goes, he's in the chair. He's not tied to the chair, but he's kind of stuck to it. He kind of leans forward a little bit. His arms don't move off the arms of the chair, and he goes, we were raised as brothers. We were both trained by the same monk, the original Great Sage. He died. We had a falling out. He left and took everything that should have been my birthright. Okay, that's great. I'm sorry. I think you misunderstood. I didn't ask for the cliff notes, right? Because Basil's going to have some questions, and I have to, explain this to him, or he's going to look at me with sad puppy eyes. I hate sad puppy eyes. I don't want them. Okay, can't stand sad puppy eyes, right? If you would have done the sad puppy eyes, maybe I wouldn't have tortured you as much as I have so far, right? But you didn't think about the sad puppy eyes. Nobody prepares themselves, right? It's not hidden information. Everybody who knows my name knows I don't like sad puppy eyes, right? Oh, there's nobody in here but me and you. Sorry. Secret safe. So, what do you mean? Falling out? What do you mean? Did you guys disagree on dinner? Ooh, wait, no. Let me guess. You both wanted the same girl. Huh? Well, you got her, so you won that battle. Good job, buddy. Come on. What is it? Julie says, no, it's not. My wife has always been my wife. Listen, our master died, and then he gets interrupted. No, how did the master die? Give me the deets. Huh? Explain it to me like I don't know nothing. He goes, he had an accident, at which point in time I should have been the next leader, and he cuts him off. Accident? That sounds like my work. What type of accident? Did you poison him? No, you can't poison monks. You had to get stabby, didn't you? Did you stab him? Was he asleep? Are you an assassin? And he kind of, this questioning goes on for a little bit. And eventually the story, so I can do the cliff notes so I can stop sounding like I'm crazy and role-playing with myself. So the story is this. Your father killed the original Great Sage. He cursed him and then dueled him. He was dueling him for leadership. He got killed because of the curse. He should have been the leader. Great Sage was like, wait a minute, the boss is fighting crappy. Inspected the gloves that your father used, discovered the curse, disavowed him because of his shenanigans. The duels are validated. As the other ranking member took over the thing, Julius, Rabijan's father, wiped out most of the order, and that's why the order is so thin and spread out as it is. At that point in time, when he left, he refused to leave you in the clutches of an evil man and took you with him. Julius explained that with different words, but that's the overhead perspective of the story. Any questions about that, Basil?
No, I guess Basil would just sort of, no questions.
Do you want some behind the scenes note at lore you're never going to be able to find out if I don't give it to you here?
Okay.
Your mom didn't know any of that. From her perspective, the great sage stole you, killed the leader, and did all that wrong, and she simply followed the man she loved.
Yeah, well, honestly, that's what you get for trusting men, okay? Not my problem.
I mean, realistically, it kind of is your problem. You trust me, right?
Oh, god damn it,
Cool.
Brian.
Yeah, that sucks. All right, 2 more questions. More cultists, and what was the other one?
The history and what he knows about the cult.
Oh,
History
okay.
with the cult and what he knows about the cult, like their intentions and stuff.
All right. So he goes, Kane goes, wow, I didn't know. There's a group of elves who live far off in the woods, and they tell these stories to each other called telenovas, and that really sounds like what your story is. He goes, you want to know the history of the cult? I don't like the cult. I like the authority from the cult. So if you want to take them down at this point in time, that's fine. But before I give you locations of the cult, you're going to have to give me some assurances as well. But as far as the history, it's simple. There is a demon lord named Demigorgon who showed up, who entered into a partnership with a man named Abel, and then used Abel's contacts to sucker in a group of people. These people started worshiping Demigorgon. It got weird. Something happened. Abel left, and then a cult was born. Unfortunately, Abel put in the groundwork for the organization of the cult, and that's why they were so efficient.
What?
So the purpose of the cult was to follow some death god whose name I don't know, that Demigorgon was in line with. They wanted to destroy this world and recreate it, and at that point in time we would all be considered kings and rulers and emperors and all that.
Kind of sound a bit like Scientology, but alright.
Sign what?
Ancient monk thing you wouldn't understand.
Okay, Tom Cruise. So, now as far as the location of remaining cultist assets, I'm not going to give that to you without some assurances on your end. And I'll have to talk to somebody besides you to give those up. And that's the 3 things, right?
Yeah, those were the 3 things he asked Abel to get.
Kane will come give you
Kane.
the information, and then he will come and explain to you everything I just said.
Okay. Well, Basil was watching, so through the crystal ball. I suppose we can't really give him those assurances. I don't know if a lot of this has been morally correct, and I further don't know if it's morally correct to lie to him, but it would likely be worth making sure that there is not enough of the cult to restart whatever their machinations are if we are successful, when we are successful in our mission. I don't suppose you have any ideas about the fact that he won't speak unless we assure him they won't be harmed. So I don't know if we can
I don't think he's going to say that unless they're harmed. I think he's looking for self-preservation.
I see. I hadn't considered that. Well, I at least don't plan on executing him, but I don't know about the rest of the defenders and whatnot. I don't really believe in that sort of thing, but it is very vital information, I believe. The rest of what he told us can probably be corroborated by Abel and when I speak to the sage next.
Abel's still in the place hanging out with Rabijan.
Okay.
So, Basil, you head back into the inn.
What? I was about to say, Kane, do you believe you can get that information from him about where the rest of the cult is?
Me? No. Springwater? I doubt it, but he's certainly going to try.
I mean, I would do my best to advocate that he's not slain. I couldn't set him free. He would have to likely remain imprisoned for the rest of his life, but if that would be satisfactory for him, then I would imagine he would want to die, considering what occurred when we confronted him. If you're able to get the information out of him, that's brilliant, but if not, you've already done a lot, and I appreciate you aiding me, and do I need to pay you for this?
No, I've been paid enough.
It's ominous, but appreciated, I suppose. Okay. If you can get that information from him, do so. If not, I suppose I will understand, and we will simply have him locked away as best as we can. Thank you,
All right.
Kane and Springwater.
And we bid you adieu.
Basil will leave.
He opens the door and goes back into the room with your father, and you hear a very dramatic, "I'm back!"
Honey, I'm home. Basil will at that point leave and just sort of leave it in Springwater's hands. And would like to... Where are we? How quickly can I get back to the humble beginnings? Because I mean, I can fly, but I don't know if we're like in the Elven capital or something right now.
No, you'll go through the portal that Kane provides and head right back to the portal room upstairs.
Okay, heck yeah. And then I do so, and we'll head my way back down to the bar, and Basil doth appear at thine top of stairs, monk-like as ever. He doesn't look particularly distressed, being fought. He comes downstairs, sees Abel, thinks that's, again, concerningly good timing.
And a bunch of Robbie Johns.
Oh yeah, that's true. You know what? Honestly, I don't know if he would even mention it. He'd just be like, yeah, true. That's about right. Yeah. I just want to say, I looked. Seeming lasts for 8 hours, so this is like, the Robijon thing isn't gonna go away anytime soon. I just wanted to let you guys know. So that's what's going on with that. I don't actually think there's a way to end it early too. There could be, but I'm too lazy to read through it all. Yeah, Basil comes downstairs, looks at all the Rabijans. I'm assuming Abel doesn't look like a Rabijan, because I don't think Scandal could affect Abel with magic if he wanted to. So Basil, sort of slightly fazed by the gaggle of Rabijans, will approach the table with the Rabijans and the Abel. And he would presume that the one closest to Abel is the real Rabijan. Will the real Rabijan please stand up?
Chicka.
And he will approach. Basil was just gonna sit down, look at Abel, go, I'm sorry to intrude on whatever business you're currently conducting, but do you mind if I ask you a question?
Well, that's kind of why I'm here today.
Oh, brilliant. Well, it's to do with the interrogation on Julius. He told us some things about the cult, and he, as before, mentioned some specific involvement of yourself.
Oh yeah, I was involved in the beginning of it, kinda.
This being he mentioned, Demogorgon,
Oh, it's a demon. Very scary stuff.
a demon. Is that creature still around?
Kinda. A piece of him was on this planet when it started.
A piece. So we're not going to have to interact with this Demogorgon.
It's possible.
That's disappointing. This is not the same as the one that we're not going to mention the name of because I don't like the way that Rabijan looks at me, and there's many Rabijans right now, so I don't want to say it while there's so many in the room. Starts with an S, ends with a jury.
So what other questions do you have for me?
Well, I was asking if that being Demogorgon, it's not the one and the same with the begins with S, ends in a jury.
One and the same? No. Different entity.
Okay.
Also not good. Not
Well,
much
yes.
better.
Yes is to yes. I suppose that's sort of heavily implied by the goals. I do sort of suppose I would have found it apt for you to have mentioned your involvement with the cult.
It was very
prior.
brief. Very brief.
It doesn't sound very brief, but then again, I suppose time probably affects you quite differently.
It was a sad little thing. They asked me for information. I gave them information. They found me to be organized and asked me for assistance in running an organization, and I charged them a considerable amount of gold, which was wonderful. Did it. And then once I got tired of their monotony and solving all their little stupid logistic problems, I left.
I do always find it quite interesting how a being such as yourself can be so concerned with money. There's no judgment there, I just find it interesting.
Don't be confused. I don't necessarily need money, but I find it motivates your people a lot. Take Scandal, for instance. I can have him do anything because he knows I have plenty of gold to throw at his way to do it.
True! Kill an old woman, I will.
Scandal could eat wasted food off the ground if the gold amount is correct.
Alright, well that is a weird example, and now I'm nervous about my next assignment, but it's true. And then there's Basil. Basil says, I suppose I don't disagree with that notion.
Can Rabijan ask Abel one more question?
Sure.
Bobby John was wondering what happens on the day the world ends.
What has happened several times?
Yes.
Sure. The core of the world it starts to rupture and starts to explode, and then I finalize my ritual. And as the world is exploding and everything is ceasing to exist on this planet, time rewinds, and then we start over our future attempts again.
Can Mr. Abel Geiser tell Bobby John what makes the core of the world explode?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the bad guy gets the what's it called again? Not Triforce.
Trio of effort.
Trio of effort. Thank you. Gets the trio of effort and finishes their ritual, which is quite the opposite of my ritual.
But don't you have the trio of effort?
I do. We're coming up on the time where I am personally assaulted and almost killed.
By whom?
Well, that's a spoiler.
Is it by Bobby John?
I'm a little concerned, my kitten. Are you saying you want to murder me?
That whisper might have been out of character, but no, Bobby John does not hold any murderous intent for Mr. Abel Geiser currently.
But Abel looks at you guys and goes, yes. Again, I just want to point out that I don't understand or exist with morality in the way that you do. If you look at the totality of my actions and judge my morality based solely off of them as a whole, I believe you guys would judge me more bad than good. If you look at my actions chronologically, then you would notice a significant slide towards good. I don't know how that affects your relationship with me. I'm not sure why those effects are there, but I know that in no small part, this guild, particular members in this guild, have had an effect on the way that I make decisions. People like Basil and his questions of morality, or Abijan and her insistence I don't murder random people.
I suppose that is a good time for me to ask if that ring that you gave Cain is what I think it is.
Well, I don't know. I'm trying to not read people's minds. What do you think it is?
I think it might perhaps be similar to the one that you gave me.
I mean, yeah, it is. Cain, excuse me for misspeaking, Springwater is a magnificent tool. He's also very hard to motivate. Roland, what questions would you have for Abel at this time? He's giving you the opportunity to ask him any questions.
Roland doesn't really have any questions. He's more focused on his blade and just experimenting with creating an abundance of whatever it is he's doing.
What about Grok?
Grok doesn't really have any questions either.
Is there any questions collectively that you guys would like to present? We'll give you just a moment to rehash it up as one.
I think most of the Overpie members seem pretty comfortable with their standing in the guild and their relationship with Abel.
Do you guys want to ask the hard questions? This is an opportunity where he said he'll answer anything and not judge you for it, not take offense. Do you want to ask him if he's got the better interest of the guild in hand, or what his hopes are for the guild, or things like that? Do you want to ask him if he's the bad guy? I know those questions.
That earlier.
Those questions have kind of been on the back of your mind for a little bit, so this is the time. Not often do you get the chance to directly conversate with an old one,
True.
Especially one that's being honest.
Honestly, I think more than directly questioning him, Basil would just want to know if he could give proof, because I think Basil would say something along the lines of, Abel, if I'm being upfront with you, I don't know if I think you're good or bad, but I do believe that you are a necessity, and I appreciate your involvement in protecting both this world and the Veil. The part of me that wants to believe in the good of things wants to know if you harbor any darker machinations for the guild, or perhaps even if you just have some way to prove the things that you claim. But honestly, I don't know if we was to go against you.
Oh, no. Oh, that would be a silly mistake.
You've been very generous to us.
I've killed your guild over 100 times.
Well,
I want to insight that.
Go ahead.
Grok got a 21.
It sounds like a terrifying cold hard fact. Listen, how about this? I don't know how to make you feel comfortable that I'm telling you the truth. And I will certainly never try to convince you that I'm good. Because that's a concept I didn't think about until I got stuck on your planet. Good, evil. But let me tell you this. I'll tell you a little bit about what I am.
That would be nice.
You live in a world that was created by beings, and we've talked a little bit about how the world was created. You've been insight into that. Let's talk about existence, okay? And I'm going to try to talk about it in scale so that you can see why I think differently than you, or at least one reason. Fair?
Mm-hmm.
How important are ants to you?
I look at Roland.
Yeah,
Sort
but he
of
doesn't.
expectantly.
He doesn't typically consult the ants to ask what they want. He just knows things and manipulates the environment so that everything within it is better off. Fair? Wisdom and observation. You've made decisions without consulting those beings, and the same would be said for most deer, badgers, birds. You know what's a healthy environment, and you create that and let them go about on their own business. Correct?
It seems to make sense.
So there's insects and bugs and birds and animals and mammals and lizards and snakes, which are poisonous, and all sorts of things out there. And he looks at you and goes, I know. I was trying to get a rise out of you. Snakes are venomous.
Not all snakes, of course. Only
Sure. But when they have that bite and that chemical reaction, that is a venomous bite, not a poisonous bite.
It's not what I've heard.
Well, Ron's an idiot. Then you have humans, and you have elves and halflings and dwarves and Genasi and tieflings and Kenku and Arakoas, and you have all these people and these humanoids. Then you've got elementals and spirits and ghosts and undead, and you've got holy people that come from the lawful lands after that, your angels and gods and all those come from. You've got demons and devils, which are chaos and evil, either lawful evil or chaotic evil. You've got all these other planes, and as you go, these creatures keep getting bigger. Like, for example, do you think the average demon consults the brand new demons on or the bottom demon, the lemurs in creating their things, or do you think they just make their decisions and the lower beings just exist in the environment they're created, much like Roland and his ants? Do you think the gods consulted humans before they created this planet? No, it just sprung up out of battle, and then you exist in the environment provided for. Well, before this world and this cosmos existed other beings, and we swam through creation, and things would just sprout up from our thoughts, and it was all chaotic. And all of a sudden, these smaller beings started putting organization into everything. And pretty soon, who've extended and viewed the extent of time and chaos, was interested in these smaller beings because they kept popping up. No matter how many times I kicked the anthill over, they came back, and they hurriedly moved the earth, opened the hole, and rescued what ants they could, and then they rebuilt their structure. And then I can come by and just knock the hill over. They come by and I pour water in the hole. They come by and I stomp on it. And each time, they not only came back, but they improved.
This is not helping the argument for you being a good being.
Never said I was good. Just said I viewed things differently.
I just want you to know where the standings are right now.
So I came to the original planet where the gods first exploded forth and the people first came. And I came here and I said, I'm going to take a closer look at these ants. And so I came down and I ran around, and they were fighting these battles, and they had all these things they cared about that were so insignificant. You take a world and just poof, but these people really cared about some things on that simple little poofed world. And then you get to know them, and they've got personalities. There's millions of different personalities and perspectives and ideas and thoughts. And it's interesting. And then you get to know them, and you find, what do you call them? Attachments to them. And all of a sudden you care about what the ants care about. I believe some of your people have done this before. He looks at Roland and says, you've heard of them, I'm sure. That's an ant farm where people will take these ants and collect them as pets. So I did that for a little while. With a friend of mine, an acquaintance of mine, a cult was founded. I didn't know it was a cult, but then all of a sudden, they're doing stuff, and this world's going to explode. And I'm okay with that, but they trapped me on it. I've killed worlds myself, many. They trapped me on this one. So obviously I can't let this one die. And so I use a little bit of my particular power, and I pause, and we go back, and I take a second look at something. And then we get to the end, and inevitably the bad guys, right, as you would call them, win, and I pause, and I go back. And every time I go back, everything's a little different, because I do things, or Demogorgon does things, because he's also cognizant of this entire thing, as is the one you won't mention. And their machinations change as we're all trying to get a better result. And as we do things change. Roland, you've been evil, you've been good, you've been neutral. Neutral a lot more than evil and good, but you've been both. There's one person on this planet, and I know because I've met everybody on this planet several times. One person who's never changed. Always the same happy-go-lucky, snack-loving, positive influence. That's intriguing. Why have you never changed? What the heck? I don't know. You're an ant. I don't understand you. But I'm intrigued by you.
She's a cat, not an ant.
It's
They're different animals. Well,
Well,
yes,
She probably has siblings who have kids.
I suppose
Well-
that is quite interesting.
Apparently, Robbie John used to have siblings.
My condolences, Robert John.
Could still be an ant.
Yeah, probably.
It is very strange, I suppose, that Robijan is the only one of us, of anyone, that is always the same.
Yeah, Robbie John isn't sure about that. How she feels on it.
Perhaps it has
It's-
something to do with Freya?
It's a lot to think about. And I know the words I said to you were not designed. If I can offer any proof, which of my sincerity, I guess is what you're looking for, or honesty, I will offer. I could have explained that story in a different way, but instead I chose to give you the honest interpretation from my point of view.
It's true as far as I can tell, but you must understand, not exactly a lot for us to counter-argue with. But I see your point.
I definitely could have made that story seem a lot more noble on my end. There's no one here that you want to talk to that can confirm anything I talked about before your birth.
No, certainly not.
There's exactly 3 of us who have an understanding of it. I'm sure there are more beings out there who have a feeling of it. I believe you guys have made a word from it. It's halfling in origin called deja vu.
I've heard of the sensation, yes.
Well, I've obviously got work to do, so I'm going to focus on doing that. If you have questions, let me know. Until then, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Just so you guys know, I view you as a little bit better than ants. You're not still ants to me. You've been promoted.
I don't know if I'm comfortable with that idea, but I suppose I appreciate the intent.
Would you rather be ants?
I don't suppose I like the fact that I could be considered less valuable a life form.
Yeah, but you're a monk. You value all the stuff.
I suppose I believe that all should be respected equally.
Technically, I respect almost everything you believe. With disrespect.
I won't say necessarily I agree with the things that you said, but I must concede I can see why you might think those things. And for what it's worth, I don't think me or my companions have much
Do you want to see
Concern.
something interesting?
anymore. Okay. Ominous.
He holds his hand out, and above his hand is an image that appears in it. And this image is a giant, almost fish-like being. It kind of looks like one of those ugly fish with the light that hangs off the front.
Oh, anglers?
Angler fish. Kind of looks like that, but with more tentacles. And he goes, This is actually what I look like.
Oh no.
Huh?
Yeah, this is my form.
That's different.
Yeah, I can't really run around in this though because it would crush a continent. I'm massive.
Well, you do clean up quite well for a ancient terror of the deep.
Yeah. I mean, it's not. I'm not in water. I'm just in existence.
Well, space is kind of like water. It's not. I don't know that. That's stupid.
It's okay. But you're trying to understand, and I appreciate that. What did you want to ask him?
Well, Robbie John was wondering because Mr. Abel Geiser was saying that he's destroyed the guild a bunch of times, but that Robbie John was always in the guild, so he's destroyed Robbie John a bunch of times?
Oh no, never.
Confused, but okay.
No, I've killed all the other stuff in the building.
But not Robbie John.
Yeah, but I've wholesale slaughtered your friends before.
Was Grok the hardest to kill?
Finnileas usually is.
I suppose that makes sense.
Sometimes Onyx is. Step on an ant. Have you ever stepped on a bug and then it keeps crawling?
Oh, cockroaches.
Scorpion.
Oh, Onyx,
Onyx
you do look like a scorpion.
Onyx is a lot like a scorpion. You step on him, he stings you. That's true. Grok can hurt, but if a strong gust comes around, he'll fall over dead.
He is a wizard, I suppose. Wizard HP.
One time, I was in the midst of destroying the guild because I thought the guild was causing the world to end. I was confused. It took me a while to get the right information. So one time, I was in the midst of wholesale slaughtering the guild, and Roland just got up and walked away. I had just smashed through the entire building. He literally reached over, grabbed a keg that was on wheels, and just rolled right out the front door.
Nope. I can't not see that happening.
I was so baffled. I didn't kill that one. He died of old age. Well, liver issues later.
I find it a little comforting that you remember most of them.
I remember every life since I've come to this planet of the guild. It's always been interesting, even when I thought it was against me.
I hope you remember every time I've told you to drop using the rings.
To be fair, Springwater got that ring before you said don't use them anymore.
You're a big of immense power. You can just take his toys away. Okay, it just seems like I'll get it off him later.
I don't steal things often. I stole the phylactery. I've got that, by the way.
Yes. How convenient, Abel.
I'll give it to you if you want it.
The phylactery?
Don't touch it.
I don't want your stinking phylactery.
It's not mine. It's still in the case. I have the receipt.
I suppose at this point, I thought you had some sort of specific relation to the being within that phylactery, but I suppose that was just a story now.
Oh, there's lots of stories. If you search caves, there's pictographs of me and this planet. You know, some of you guys, not you guys, but some of the people on this planet in the past had seen me in my real form. Can I tell you, when I first came to this planet, I just shrunk myself down, and I traveled the ocean, and occasionally people at sea would see me. And I don't know if you've seen 100 sailors just collectively crap their pants.
That means there's probably a sea shanty about you.
I hope to God there is.
We shall have to have Finnileas look into that.
Did you know one time, when I first came here, I thought the smart life was going to be in the water. And there's some people down there. I don't know if you know, but
in the water?
There's a couple civilizations. You have, like, fish people.
Oh, you didn't mean, like, drowned people.
Oh, there's those, too, yeah.
Oh.
The ocean's a convenient storage place for your leftover bodies.
It's a weird way.
You know what else I've found to be the most efficient? Is to dig a pit and to put gelatinous cubes. I keep a couple gelatinous cubes in a pit. Just push the bodies in, they're gone. Anyway, looks like you guys got a lot to chew on. Fortunately, you have a cook who's almost done making a gourmet lunch for you. I'm gonna go. And then Abel just spoofs. As you guys are sitting there and Abel's left and you guys are contemplating everything, a burst happens as somebody explodes through the front door of the inn. And it's a familiar looking orc. As he comes in, he's bloody. He looks like he's been through hell. He hits the ground. He looks up and he goes, Where's Finnileas? We're going to go ahead and end the episode there. Thanks for coming along and listening to us play some Dungeons & Dragons. We hope you had a good time. And join us next time with Defenders of the Veil as we try to find dragons to slay.
Hi, this is Mallory. I do the voice for Abby John, and I wanted to say thank you for joining us for another episode of Defenders of the Veil. If you would like to hear more of Defenders of the Veil, you can find us at Podbean, Spotify, iTunes, and pretty much anything else that plays podcasts. You can also find us on Twitter at Defenders Veil and Facebook, Defenders of the Veil. Our episodes come out weekly, and we would love for you to share us with your friends. We hope that you will join us again soon. Thanks again.
Here's some lore. A lot of these elder primal beings, which is what Abel is, which existed before the world was created. Like if you go back to almost any D&D world, there's these big chaotic beings. Sometimes planets are made just by them passing and energy popping off. They're usually involved in a weird way where they don't really care. But they usually have, each one has a particular like power. Like a god and goddess would have like a domain, right? Where they're kind of the experts in that. Abel's is time. Like he's a time god.
Yeah.
He might be in
Time Lord.
Primeval Time Lord.
Time Evil Prime Lord.
A Time Evil Prime Lord.
Oh, that gives me an idea for the next campaign.
So he has powers to relive. That's why he's able to put this spell on the planet. He has the power to alter time.
Yeah, makes sense.
So when you see him from time to time, it may not have been just a few days that have passed. He could have lived out an eternity in between each time you see him.
Well, I'm appreciative that he remembers us.
And it may be out of order. You might see him occasionally before you saw him last time. Right? You exist linear, right? Time's always moving forward for you. but he has sidestepped time, and he can move to the right, to the left, up and down, and he can dive into it any way he wants.
The linear virgin versus the temporal Chad.
Yeah.
That's what Abel is.
Did you just call Abel a Chad? We're gonna have to get you a headset, David, because every time you key up, your speakers go into your mic, and there's a reverb or whatever it's called.
Okay, I'll go get my headphones.
Oh, sick! If you can, if not, we'll just do it next time.
Yeah, I just got to remember where I set them.
Oh, that's cool. Thank you, man. I just know that Ron later is gonna be like, he could probably sigh longer than that. I imagine Ron's, after putting up with our bullshit for a couple of years, is a very good sigher. Not like a lord, but like he sighs exceptionally well. I wish I could do a Minnesotan accent. Here's why. Watch the TikTok person talk about doing accents for different races. And she's like, I can't do a Scottish accent, but I grew up adjacent to Minnesota and I can do a really good Minnesotan accent. So where I come from, dwarves are Minnesotans. And then she read some dialogue, and it made me laugh a lot. So now every time we talk about dwarves, I hear "Don't you know," and I want to make a dwarf Minnesota
Don't
accent.
you know?
Yada hater, don't you know?
See, there it is, right there. Grab Jan, your next character is going to be a dwarf with a Minnesotan accent.
Bro, that sounds like a Swedish chef.
A bit, yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at the history of the people who primarily made up original Minnesota, there's a lot of Scandinavian crap there.
The Minnesota Vikings.
In my mind, let me know if you think this would have happened, but in downtime, I feel like Scandal and Roland would have become kind of friends because they both really like to drink.
Oh, they should be bar buds.
Maybe they wouldn't
nothing
hang
like
out like at the
personality.
grocery store,
Yeah.
right? They wouldn't hang out like at the same house of friends, but in the bar where the rules change, they're happy.
Yeah, they're they're just hanging. They're just two bros vibing.
For sure.
And the drink is called Nina's Nightcap. It's now canon.
Yeah.
It's what I pour for Nina when I want her to go to sleep and go away.
Don't tell her I said that.
Nah, I made it for her. She helped me figure it out.
Just the image of this dwarf like in a lab trying to make the strongest alcohol just to put Nina to sleep.
Pours it on a table. Nothing happens. It's not strong enough. Pours it on something else and it melts. It's like a cartoon character messing with acid. It just disintegrates a spoon. Caesar salad are gonna bounce.
Bro, don't call me Caesar salad. Oh, you mean Julius? Okay, good. Wait, that means that I'm the offspring of Caesar salad. I'm Caesar lad.
You're like a crouton.
That's why
Spring
you're
Mac.
Crouton.
He's a spring Mac.
boy.
That's why you're Basil.
Yeah, calm down, crouton.
I'm not a crouton. You're a cretin.
You just one of them cretins. Run around with your poisonous snakes and your cretin-like behaviors.
Rhoda's face is just like, oh, well, for what reason? Why'd you have to bring me into this? And for what?
See, right now, you could be working on that joint with your focus and your hands down below the camera right there. That's the roll in a joint base. You were just like,
Ain't nobody got time to roll a fucking joint. You kidding me? I have 3 kids.
Get them to roll it.
Needs cones.
No, that's what a glass bowl is for, guys. Come on now.
glass bowls for ice cream.
Glass bowl, grinder, glass screen, you're set. I don't know anything about it.
You and me use a different type of grinder.
Head on over to www.RabbyJan's Weed Emporium. Use the code Defender's Veil at checkout for a 5% discount on shipping.
Not 5, 4.2.
It's on shipping.
Okay.
It's not the cost of the other stuff. So it's like $1.
I mean, $1's a buck. A quid, actually. I'll have you know.
We're not in London. We don't do quid. So what else is everybody else going to do while we're doing things?
Kill a beholder, kill a beholder. It's beholder hunting season.
For those not aware, Onyx just quoted Bugs Bunny or referenced Bugs Bunny. Or no, actually, that was Elmer Fudd, wasn't it? Killed a rabbit.
Yep.
And for those listening, he referenced the Looney Tunes that came out before you were born.
Yes,
I don't
I am
Elmer
old.
Fudd. I just seen the like old ass one. The like racist one.
I was talking to my wife today, and she left. She went to go buy groceries for the restaurant and deliver them to the restaurant. And now she's on her way back. As she was leaving to go buy the groceries, I said, "Via con Dios," which is Spanish for "go with God," right? Because I speak a little Spanish. And she's like, "What?" I said, "Via con Dios." I said, "That means go with God." She's like, "Am I dying?" So now she's like, "I'm on my way back." I'm like, "Well, hurry up. I miss you." She's like, "Are you sure?" I thought I was supposed to go with God. So for all you single listeners out there who think, "Man, I wish I had a wife or a girlfriend," no, you don't.
I mean,
No, you
he
don't.
can be pretty awesome as
No.
well. Yeah.
They're not worth the tacos that they bring you or the
Okay.
cuddles.
She'll stop bringing them to you, so you better watch it.
My wife doesn't listen to this podcast. It doesn't matter.
But whenever she
Oh.
accidentally gets a snippet sent to her from a certain Ron,
Or if I might accidentally send it to her if Ron sends it to me because he doesn't have the cojones. I speak Spanish too. Sorry, Ron. Walter made me a drink, and there may have been alcohol in it.
Was it Nina juice? Was it Nina?
It was sake and Arizona tea.
So far we've talked about both Springwater's and Ron's cojones.
True. Next, we're going to talk about Ron's poisonous snake.
Technically, if it bites the right person, an infection happens.
Wow.
No.
Parasite, I could see. Infection, that's just not healthy.
Oh God! Someone described them as parasites.
I'm a sneaky snake.
I'm a sneaky, slippery little snake.
That's what happens. That's how that goes down for Ron. Just zip. I'm a snake.
It shouldn't be. That's criminal.
and how does Ron the Monk act?
Oh no!
Yeehaw, you sons of bitches! It's about to go down. I got some spurs, Mama. Let's do this.
Not spurs. What, you got claspers?
Yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker!
My food beat I shall return after I flip it.
Hurry up. Hurry up, go fast, hurry up. You got questions to ask.
Go with God.
Via con Dios! Yeehaw! Crap, Ron's got a yeehaw now. Damn it. Welcome back to the Defenders.
It's not as straight an answer as I expected, I'll be honest.
Yeah, well, maybe I'm not as straight as guy as you were expecting.
All right, Kane.
No, he goes, what's up?
Well, the boss is on an important call. He's doing business.
I just had to tell Springwater what Basil's address was.
Okay, that's a lot. That is a lot. Ominous. Ricky, why do I just get a knock on my door? It's
That's not him. He won't knock.
You're gonna swat Basil? What the hell?
I'm not. Springwater's a whole different animal, though. You need to swap Basil right on his backside. I want to be the very best.
Okay. Thank you, Ricky.
I was jamming out to, there's a guy who is a lot like Jack Black on TikTok, and I was listening to him sing the Pokemon theme song. That way, I'm unprepared for your questions.
That's fair.
We are doing a Pokemon theme for Halloween this year. The baby will be a Snorlax.
Oh, that's cute.
I'm going to Google creepiest Pokemon.
Mr. fucking Mime.
Oh, yeah. That's a child. That's a predator. I'm just saying. You see him outside of school, you call the cops.
Yes.
Yeah. He's here to pick up someone's kid, but nobody planned for it.
There was another one that was the souls. Is a ghost Pokemon that was from the souls of children that got lost in the woods or something like that.
Oh, there's a bunch like that. I think it's like that tree stump Pokemon.
Trevenant.
Oh, yeah.
Well, Gengar kills people because it wants a companion. Gengar used to be a human.
I like Drifloon that just like carries children off, like it's a balloon, and children are like, "Oh, I love balloons." He grabs it and it just carries them away.
Living in the Pokemon universe and trying to parent a human child has got to be total hell.
Yeah. I mean, I love ghost Pokemon, but they're very creepy. And I guess that's the point, but you know.
Mimic you is a terrifying
Oh.
looking one.
is a little messed up
Mimic
too.
you.
Yeah.
I know how to super fail. I want to be the very worst. Natural runs abound. Rolling dice if Balin saves.